Hey guys, I know I've talked about it before, but I'll go into more detail. I was in actually the psych ward twice. Once in July, a couple days before my birthday, and once for a week in August. Sorry. And yeah, I just woke up. My hair looks like a mess, but who cares? So the first time I overdosed was in July, a couple days before my birthday. The doctor there said, and I quote, "I don't want you here for your birthday," so he let me go. Yeah, I know. Dumb. So, the second time, I had a bad experience with my mental health provider. He didn't give me the full story, because he didn't tell me he was discontinuing a medication I was on. So I'm like, at first I thought, okay, the pharmacy's probably out. It happens. So I called the pharmacy. They're like, no, the doctor never sent over the script. So I called over. They're like, no, he discontinued them. And I was like, because I didn't know. And I was like, okay, thank you. And hung up the phone. And I was fine for a bit, but then my anxiety was kicking in. And each time I called an ambulance, so it was all voluntary. So I went to the hospital. I stayed in the ER for hours. From like morning to near evening. I didn't get a room in the hospital till like 7:30. And they were in the ER. I had someone watching me. And close to 7:30 they sent me upstairs to a room. They admitted me. The next day, well, that night, I didn't have a sitter, which was bad because I was supposed to. So the next day I woke up, I had a sitter. And I was just waiting on the psych consult. Happened before, gotta wait for the psych consult before they discharge you, blah blah blah. Psych didn't come that day. So the next day, this was the third day I was in the hospital, I still didn't have the psych consult, and the sitter said, I'm gonna go check. And about 5 minutes later, the sitter came back and said, no one called in your psych consult in the ER. I'm like, wow. And they're like, yeah. So they're like, the psych people will come tomorrow. And that night, I was just joking with the nurses, the two sitters. It was because the floor I was on wasn't very busy, so the nurses had some downtime. So we were all joking around, having fun. The next day, since still no one knew the gravity of the situation, no. No one was taking it seriously, pretty much. So, near the end, it was like afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock, the nurse that was sitting there was like, look, clearly no one is coming. You've been here now 3 days. I shouldn't be telling you this, but you can leave against medical advice, AMA. So when the nurse came in, was like, I was like, where's the psych consult? They're like, they're on their, but when I said AMA, they got the doctor up here and he was like, no, you're going to the psych ward. I'm like, no, I want to leave now. They're like, no, we can't let you do that. You've done this before. I'm like, I want to leave now. They're like, no, you're not leaving. I, at that point, was just like, whatever, and the doctor was like, we're transferring you down to the psych ward. I'm like, so it was like 4 o'clock on a Wednesday, and I had an appointment Friday. Why did I say Saturday? So I was trying to get out because I needed to go to this appointment. It was a neurology appointment. I had to go see the neurologist because of my headaches and migraines. So the first day in the psych ward was a Wednesday. And that was, like I said, at like 4 or 5 o'clock. I just laid there in my room. I had the room to myself, luckily. The next day, in this psych ward in particular, it was wake everyone up at 8 for breakfast. 10 o'clock was a morning group. 11 o'clock was meeting with the doctor. 12 o'clock was lunch. 1 o'clock was an afternoon group. 4 o'clock was dinner. 7, 8 o'clock was snacks. With visitors in the 2 to 4 o'clock span on a weekday. So basically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and most of Monday I was there. And I was pissed. Because I called a family member and was like, get me out. And when they called the doctor, who shouldn't have told them the whole story, because I said, so the family member pretty much kept me there. I was annoyed because I don't do groups. And I was forced to go to a group therapy session each day, except the weekends, because no doctors, no therapists were there. I pretty much stayed in my room and slept because I didn't want to deal with people. I didn't want to deal with anything. I was lucky, and like I said, I had my own room, but they took all of my stuff. They held on to my little bag that I use when I go to the hospital, which had my insurance card, my phone charger, a battery pack, and a thing to change an outlet into like a 3 thing. And I think that's pretty much it. And when I needed to get a number out of my phone, they were watching me like a hawk. And I wasn't even allowed to use my phone to call that number.